8th March 2022. Welcome to the Tezpur University. Women participation can be seen right from the security desk to campus life to the juice counter, canteen, tailoring shop, parlor, departmental purchases store, laboratories situated in various departments of Tezpur University, computer labs, and various places entire this campus, whether it is a classroom or the campus life of Tezpur University. Department of Law is situated in the Academic Building 1. LL.M students, with the aid, advice and able guidance of all the faculty members of the Department of Law, are observing International Women's Day. On this day, various events are organized. Students have created wall magazine on the theme of women and environment. There was a screening of a movie named Erin Brockovich, where an effort of a woman was shown to achieve justice. It was based on a real and true story. There was another event organized as of a webinar on women in legal education, past, present and future. This event is going to be graced by the presence of Honorable Srimati Justice Marley Wongkong, who is a judge of the Guwahati High Court. The event will be graced by resource person Professor Lisa P. Lukose, who is a faculty member of Guru Govind Singh Indraprasth University. The event is going to be inaugurated by Professor Farhina Danta, Dean School of Humanities and Social Sciences. Now, a student had taken this initiative under the guidance of Ms. Angel Shyam to take a note and account of women empowerment, particularly in Tezpur University, how the teachers they perceive the contribution made by the women in various aspects of the life. If we will take into account the All India Survey on Higher Education, which was made for the year of 2018 and 19, it was mentioned there that the women involvement in the higher education has marked a growing rise, whether it is the field of science, technology, medicine, commerce or any other field, compared to the year of 2014 and 15. Now in the year 2022, the students and this department, we have thought that to take an account of what is the observation, what is the idea, how the teachers of the Tezpur University they think and they observe about the women empowerment in different perspective life, in different stream of the education. And therefore students of LL.M they have undertaken this task to visit each and every department and to take the feedback, to take the observation, to take the ideas of the faculty member on women empowerment, whether it is the field of science, technology, journalism or social sciences or law, whatever the field it may be. So let's join a hand to take the account of women empowerment in Tezpur University. Thank you and best wishes from the Department of Law on this day. Thank you.
In the overall growth of Tezpur University, women has a very important role in both, teaching as well as non-teaching and also in students. You can see a good chunk of participants from the women side. And especially, I can say that among the students, you can see that 46% students are from the female and rest 54% are from male. And these students have been playing a very important role, not only the overall growth, but also for their own advancement. They have been taking the advantages for the higher studies, as well as they go for abroad and also in the scientific research. And among the faculties, you can see this faculty members, especially the women faculty members, they are taking the advantage of the nation's various, priority areas, in the trust areas. They are taking the research problems, and they have been doing extremely well. And also in case of administration, you can see this women power is very significant. They have very significant role to play, and they are doing that. And so I can say that overall in this university, Tezpur University especially, this women has a very significant role they have been playing.
Women have played an important role in education for a very long time. They have a social role as well as a role as an educator and an administrator. The decisions they take or implement in their capacity as administrators, heads or deans, they are significant, as well as their role as teachers and researchers. As teachers, they have to ensure that they deliver the maximum possible connect with the students. As researchers and as research supervisors, they have to ensure that a balance is maintained between the private and the public sphere. On one side there is academics, on the other side the scholars' personal health and welfare, as well as the academic commitment of both parties. These are important things that the women in education have to look after. Then they also have roles as administrators as far as implementation of policy goals is concerned, and they also have to identify problem areas and look for solutions. It's not just about implementation, it is about visualizing things for the future. And finally, it is about responsibility and accountability.
The center was, I would say, the center was born in the year 2010. And the center is, again, as I said, the women's studies centers in India are outcomes of the women's movement. And the ultimate task is, that you need to bring a change in the society. So this change is basically, all of us, we understand when I'm talking about the change, change means bringing fairness into the treatment of the society, or it's about gender equality and so and so. But regarding the center, which came out as a, we named it as Chandraprabha Saikyani Center for Women's Studies, and Chandraprabha Saikyani herself was a rebel leader in the, first half of the 20th century when she was born. And what we saw was basically she had focused on, issues like education, issues like, say, widow remarriage, issues like women's political participation and things like that. The center also tries to, work in line with her ideology. So that is one of the most important things. And secondly, in all the women's studies centers in India, the mandate is like that you are supposed to carry out research along with some kind of activism. So research, teaching and activism, all three, they go hand in hand. And women's studies per se, all of us, we understand that without activism, we won't be able to, achieve much through this academic discipline. So right now the center has been very vigorously, it has been working towards, it has been doing a lot of activities, extension activities amongst the communities. And when we work with the communities, mainly we are working in the area of, say, capacity building, we are working in the area of awareness, we are also working in the area of sensitization, we are also working in the area of motivation. So this is basically what the center does, along with research and the academic teaching, which is a normal work of the center. And along with all that, what I think is that the center's aim and center's, I would say, vision is actually to work for the upliftment of the women of the Northeast, and exactly that's what the center is trying to do right now.
Empowerment of women through media has to be seen through two perspectives: representation and participation. In representation, we are encountering issues of stereotyping and commodification of women. And I believe we are all aware of these problems, and there is a lot of work which is happening on that. And in order to overcome this problem of representation, there has to be greater participation of women in content creation. So women have to break the glass ceiling, or if I may say here, the glass screen, in order to arrive at decision-making roles in terms of content creation. They need to become owners. They need to become the gatekeepers who control the content creation. In this respect, we are seeing interesting experiments happening with the coming of social media, with the coming of the OTT platforms, and various other work that is happening in the realm of alternative media and community media experiments. So I do see a very bright future of ensuring empowerment of women through media if we are able to carry forward this mission of media ownership and control over content creation by the future women of India.
March 8th is International Women's Day. And I think it's a day set aside for us to sort of reflect on what has been achieved and also what more needs to be achieved. So as an academic, when I look back, I do believe that we have made progress on that front. For example, the Indian University now, there are very many women now studying. And the National Education Policy also wants to increase the gross enrollment ratio to 50% by the year 2035. So this means that along with the sections of society, other sections of society that were not given education before, a lot of women are also going to come into our universities and into our colleges. So that's a positive thing, because 100 years ago that was not possible, say. But then, you know, sometimes when you all think back, you also realize that it's a question of one step forward and two steps backward. One of the things that I've been receiving over yesterday, I think, were ads from many corporate houses asking me to buy their products, etc., on the occasion of International Women's Day. So that's an appropriation of this occasion by corporate houses. And you find sometimes there's a sort of complacency about the progress made. It's very common, for example, to have a committee of mostly men, and then you put in a woman there, and you think you've made progress, but that is tokenism. So as I said, sometimes you do feel that despite all the progress that has been made, much remains to be done, and as I said, we sometimes also feel that we have not really made progress. There are crimes against women, horrible crimes against women, but even the smaller injustices that go unnoticed or unremarked, microaggression, and also there's something called discourse, feminist discourse, a discourse about femininity, what constitutes femininity, and some of it we've normalized. For example, again, I took an example from academics, from the university. Girls have a certain time by which they have to get back to the hostel. I think it's 9:30 or something like that. But boys are more or less free to come in and as they like. And it's not even a simple question of the university changing its rules and allowing women, young women, to be out on the campus, say till midnight. Because in that case, there might be resistance from families also. So we have a particular notion about how women should be looked after, protected. And that is really very much part of that whole idea of what women can do, cannot do. So as I said, sometimes, on these occasions we feel very happy and a kind of complacency sets in. But that may not be the right way to look at it. And there is a famous essay by a black feminist: "The master's tools can never dismantle the master's house." So I think we should keep that in mind, that the struggle ahead is far great, still great. Much has been achieved, and mostly through struggle. Women have had to struggle to get their rights, and I think a lot more remains to be done. So I think we should keep that in mind.
International Women's Day, it's a very important day, a day to remember the struggles, a day to remember the achievements and a day to remember the solidarity of women across diverse intersections. This year the themes are two. One is hashtag break the bias, and the second is gender equality towards a sustainable future. I think both are very relevant, and as women in education, women in science, women in development, women in administration, women in governance, women in law, women in communities, women in domestic sphere, women in brothels, women in technology firms, women in filmmaking, women in various health settings, women in research. I think this is a day to celebrate each one's achievements and each one's, joys and each one's hopes to build a future which has space for everyone. And we also want women from all gender identities to be part of this space, to be part of this day, and absolutely break the bias which exists in many layers and create a future where gender equality is upheld and it is sustained.
I think that women are the creator, and both men and women are responsible for the creation, but without women's womb we cannot think of our progeny. So the women are, they raise their children, they are the caregiver of the family, and we have seen that in a difficult time, that in COVID-19 pandemic, they have worked with their counterparts equally in different fields. So they have their equal rights, and they have the barriers. We see the barriers regarding the genders, but now it's the high time to break these barriers, and we should accomplish the women's work. With the theme of 2022 International Women's Day, Gender Equality Today for Sustainable Tomorrow, I wish all happy International Women's Day.
As we all know, language is one of the most significant tools in expressing our thoughts. It reflects our behavior, our belief system, and also our thought process. And while there are many other factors like culture, religion, tradition that contributes to the issue of gender discrimination, we cannot ignore the role of language, as it is one of the most powerful tools for reinforcing and reproducing gender discrimination. However, with changes in social norms and values, languages around the world are evolving, and in recent times there seems to be a sensible and conscious shift from gender-centric towards gender-neutral and non-binary terms in many languages. And such progress are the result of significant and continuous struggles and movements around the world for gender equality. And the developments in advocating language reforms for more inclusive choices which are socially acceptable can be seen as a way forward to see how reimagining the choice of language that we use every day can facilitate gender equality.
It is extremely important for us to recall the efforts of women before us and today, who through their small or big contributions helped us to be in the position that we are today. The fact that we are given the opportunity to vote, to be educated, to work, to demand for our rights is because of women before us and many more who are striving towards gender equality in the society. International Women's Day is a global celebration of womanhood and gender justice. We live in a country where strengthening the social, economic and educational status of women, meaning creating an environment where there is gender equality and there is no violence or gender discrimination, and where women have equal rights in the community, society and at the workplace, is in the very spirit of the law of the land, that is the Indian Constitution. It should always be our endeavor that we make efforts like this not only for one day, that is on 8th of March 2022 or any other year, but these efforts of making people around us aware of gender justice should be an everyday effort. Happy International Women's Day 2022.
Greetings on the occasion of International Women's Day. As you celebrate this important event today, I am reminded of the contributions of all those persons whose vision and dedication have made women empowerment a collective mission of the present generation. To me, women empowerment is all about operationalizing or translating the true intent and spirit of the constitutional mandate of the equal opportunity and equal right of men and women. Women empowerment is all about equal participation, equal representation, as well as equal stake or say of women in all decision-making processes in all fields of human endeavor.
So when we talk about women as the architects of the society, we are talking about the potential of women to change the world and to shape the future course of our shared history. Acknowledging this means that we're talking about how women in the past have honored their wisdoms and how they have fought against the oppressive traditions, questioned the practices so that we can have a more inclusive future. Women have always questioned about issues of human rights, about sustainability, about leadership, about equal pay and about other issues which have made our world a more feminine, inclusive world. Of course, when we talk about this, we are also acknowledging the fact that not all women face these challenges at equal pace, right? So we are talking about how certain women are more privileged. Nevertheless, it's important for us to realize that all women have the potential to shape a better tomorrow. In this note, I want to wish everyone a happy International Women's Day.
As a person of education, I feel that education and empowerment are very closely connected. Because as you know that empowerment means a process through which one can gains the control over one's own life, and education is a tool that helps one to develop the innate capacities and capabilities. So through education one can develop the capacities, and women can also develop their capacities, and actually they remained at the background for a very long time because they were not allowed to go for education. And education is also considered as the liberating tool, and therefore we see that through education one is able to reflect on the things that are happening in the society, and therefore they can confront and they can question the things that are making societies more hierarchical and generally and gender-wise very discriminating. Also we see that education is something that makes one to take wiser decision, and therefore we feel that education is the tool that makes one empowered and a better decision maker. And also education is the thing that can help one to make greater participation in the society, and we feel that women are not given that much opportunity to come out of four walls, and through education they can go to the wider society and they can participate. And also one very important feature of education, that it helps one to gain economic independence, and because women are not allowed to have their saying in the family or outside matters, because they don't have the control on the monetary affairs. So education helps one to develop their capacities and develop as a human resource, and through that they would be able to make greater contribution in the society.
As per the women empowerment engineering field, earlier there's a negative stereotype. Stereotype was like that the women are not excelling in the engineering field. This is the but it has gone now. Now, whereas you can see in our university also, in a different engineering department, a good number of girl students has joined. And after passing out also, we have a very good record, so they are doing very well in their field of different jobs. They are doing very nicely. They are operating. They are doing their jobs. I can say, as time is very less, I can just cite some example, very important examples for the women who are excel in engineering side. Perhaps you know Priya Balasubramaniam. She is the vice president of iPhone operations, Apple. And again, I can tell about the Nandini Ramani, the vice president of engineering, Twitter. And also I can say about the Anjali Joshi, who is the vice president of product management, Google. So these are all the women. They are doing nice in engineering sectors. So I feel now in the engineering also, because for the women, I can say one of the very important thing is that women can give very minutely, they can observe everything. That is our observation also. So this is the big achievement that women is going ahead with the engineering field.
If we see this field, despite the great effort made towards gender equality over the last century, there are still a number of areas where women are underrepresented in the workforce. Currently, engineering is one of those industries. When engineering first became a popular career choice in US, working in maths and science was not a common career path for women. But as time has changed and these fields have become more inclusive, and more women are pursuing careers that interest them without worrying about gender stereotypes. While the fact that only 14% of workforce is composed of female employees, it is a drastic increase from the only 5.8% in the 1980s. A survey by the Cambridge Occupational Analyst reported that in the 7 years leading up to 2014, the number of women interested in studying science, technology, engineering and management subjects in colleges has increased more than that of their male counterparts. A. Lalita was the first female engineering of India. Every year, there are less than 30% female engineering students. But India has produced many eminent female engineers. To name a few, Priya Balasubramaniam, the Vice Chairman of iPhone Operation Apple, Nandini Ramani, Vice Chairman of Engineering Twitter, Anjali Joshi, Vice Chairman of Product Management Google, Komal Mangtani, Head of Data Intelligence Uber, Aparna Ramani, Director of Engineering Facebook. So with 5 of them and many more, it is certainly clear that women have immensely progressed in the field of engineering. As more women take on prominent roles in this industry, it helps to shape the environment and also to develop an ecosystem in the workplace that would welcome other female engineers.
If we want to say the progress of women in engineering field, yes, definitely there has been a wide range of progress, but the amount of progress we expect, it's not up to that. Girls have come up in engineering fields and they have been working in different fields, but in few branches such as civil engineering, mechanical engineering, the number of girls is yet very less. We expect more girls to come forward. The government is trying and focusing to have more girls in the system. But this should start from the very primary level, in the school level, in the home itself. At home, parents should motivate girls to pursue science and engineering. Usually, even if girls are more interested in engineering and sciences, they are demotivated at the very beginning of their life, which has resulted in this extent. Also, it is seen that even if girls pursue engineering, they do not go for their work. Means they settle down in their life, but they do not prefer to go for jobs. in the industry or in any related field to engineering. That has also hampered a lot. So my wish is that people should come forward, parents should motivate their children to pursue engineering and sciences, as well as they should be motivated to go forward to pursue their job career and have a healthy life.
So, do I consider whether women in engineering are empowered? So, there are actually two aspects to it. Engineering has been traditionally seen as a male-dominated area, and so the first aspect is whether women are empowered enough to pursue engineering in the first place. And to that, I would say that we have made a lot of progress. There was a point of time when a girl pursuing engineering was unheard of. It was a rarity, almost a rebellious act. But nowadays it is common. So, yes, we have come a long way from that. But even now, at this age, we can see that the ratio between boys and girls in engineering programs is heavily skewed, and that is because of the misconception that engineering is for boys. So we need to remove that misconception from people's minds, and in order to do that, we need more and more examples of women who do well in engineering. And that brings me to the second aspect, which is whether the women who do pursue engineering, are they empowered? And to that I can say a confident yes, because most of the girls who graduate as engineers, they end up having a drive towards finding a job, and and even though I do consider that empowerment is a personal journey, still I believe that financial independence is a major step towards that empowerment, and that is why we should encourage girls towards pursuing engineering. We should encourage them to pursue other professional programs as well.
The empowerment of women in engineering has gone on for a long time, and people in the field of discipline and even in STEM sciences field, women have started to participate more and they are actively involved. When we say empowerment of women, the role of traditionally held jobs in the service sector, you can see that there has been a remarkable change. Earlier, the roles which were defined and only considered to be capable or to be performed by men only, or the male gender, now you will find that there are increasing number of women participants also, like in the field of civil engineering, in the field of mechanical engineering. The ratio between the male to female has gone up, and we have seen an increasing number of participation from women in these fields. You can also find that there are a lot of scientific organizations, professional bodies which recognize the active role that women play in these disciplines. Especially in engineering, you have many scientific organizations, professional bodies which recognize their achievements, award them, and prove to be a motivating factor for many people to actively participate and join these disciplines for further taking forward their careers. Coming to another point, this activity or the enthusiasm or the encouragement that people find begins at the school or the primary level, where exposure to many of these science fairs, or you can say participation in competitions, encourages people to participate more in these fields, take up careers in these fields, and as a result, as they mature and as they go up into the higher streams, they choose this discipline and work forward to their fulfillment of their careers.
In engineering, if you will go when I discuss my situation, when I just decided that I have to go for engineering. So my father told me that this is not for your field, and being a girl you will stay into the industry and stay, that is a hard work kind of thing, that is meant for boys only or the male only. So whatever I feel that like this is not for only the boys field, this is not for the male field also. So this is not a biological problem, because being a female, being this one, you have some biological structure, so it is a weak and you cannot be successful in this engineering field. So that's why this is basically not a biological issue, this is a social, psychological issue and social issues, that is still. So when I see my journey or others' journey, still, like, if you go the data in the US also, only 11%, or like a country like US, only 11% females are in the engineering line. Because what they think that we have to being engineer, you have to do very hard work, very physical work, and also you can see in a department like representation of female. So if I'll see the journey of the representation of female, that is still improving, increased a lot significantly, but we have to achieve for more in the field of to make the women empowered in the area of engineering. And then we see that we are representation of women, because this is not that we have to convince, we have to this empowerment like that, because nobody can empower you. This is you, this is being a female, being a human. Nobody will come and will empower that women empowerment. This is you have to decide, you have to focus. And yeah, again in engineering, that still I think within a 10 years will be really in a strong positions. And then one more thing is that what I will tell you, like that within a 10 years will be able to achieve that whatever the representation, because the thing is that the representation of female will increase into the engineering, definitely women will be empowered. And now that if I see the scenario for last 20 years, then the number of representation of women are increased gradually, but still we have to do something, we have to create awareness that and similarly, I request to the parents also that this engineering is not for only the male or the female, like a civil engineering, mechanical engineering, that girls can also do much better. And we have lot of examples like Kalpana Chawla, like other things also. They are doing very tremendously well into the engineering. So within 10 years, I think we'll be in the position, I think not for 50-50, to at least 30-40 representation we can able to expect. And then one more thing is that nobody can empower you. This is you who can empower themselves. No, you should not wait for this when that people will come and empower you. We have to feel inside us that we are empowered. We don't have a need to wait that some discipline will come, some energy will come, and the people will come to empower. No, this is we. We have to decide where we have to go, either in the field of engineering or anything, because we have a lot of examples and we can achieve over there. With these few words, I think within coming 10 years, 15 years, will be around not 50, then 40-60 ratios or much more than we can expect. And with these few words, I would like to thank all the women who achieve success and who are the motivation for the younger generation. A very happy International Women's Day.
When I was doing my engineering, there was only one girl in my batch. And then when I went on to do my masters, there were none. Similar was the situation while doing PhD. Few girls scattered over different batches. The reasons for such a state of affairs become clear if one goes outside this domain of science and technology and looks at our society from socio-political, economic and cultural perspectives. Historically, the field of science and technology has been dominated by men, not because they are in any way superior to women, but that has been the case largely. Particularly engineering disciplines like mechanical, civil, mining, etc. were considered too manly for women to enter. Things are changing, however, but they are not changing because of some good-hearted men. They are changing because of courageous women like Savitribai Phule, Chandraprabha Saikyani, Kamala Bhagwat and many more who have pushed their boundaries and opened new doors. The mention of Kamala Bhagwat particularly is important in the Indian context of science and technology. Who was she? She was the first Indian female to obtain a PhD in sciences in 1939. After her graduation in 1933, I guess, she was interested in pursuing research, and for that she applied in ISC. The then director of ISC was none other than Professor C.V. Raman, the Nobel laureate. But he was of the opinion that girls were not competent enough to do research, and because of that her application was rejected. But she was adamant. She came to ISC campus and told him categorically that this is the nation of Gandhi, Satyagrahi Indians, and if she is not given admission here, she will do Satyagraha. She should be treated at par with any other man in the campus. Finally, she was given the admission, and the rest is history. What I want to infer from this anecdote is that change happens for good if those who are being pushed push back. Those alone who are being confined in boundaries will feel like getting away with it. I stand in solidarity with all such people who are trying to push back their boundaries. I wish them all success, and to all of us, a great Women's Day.
Works on advancement and sustainability largely focuses on the advancement and contributions made by science and technology and innovations. So in this area, women play a pivotal role in order to achieve that goal. And history also talks about the contributions made by Marie Curie, Dorothy Hodgkins and Rosalind Franklin, which have made them a world figure, and their contribution is largely recognized by world community. But we need to have more representation and contribution from the women. So in this regard, our society or the nation also needs to have some steps, like we need to promote the younger generation so that they can take up science and technology as a career. Then we can also promote the women who want to come back to science after a career break. Then also we can have more representations from women in the science policy making. So these are some of the very initial steps which any nation or we can take up in order to empower the women and their participation in science and technology. So far, as I mentioned, they have made significant contributions, but we need to have more focus and visible contributions from the women. So on this 111th International Women's Day, I wish all the best to all the women, and hope we will be able to cross the barrier and will come with flying colors. Thank you.
I believe women empowerment in science and technology is improving. The scenario is better now than earlier. Country like India also, the women have been seen in many areas of science and technology. But I strongly believe that there is still scope to work at the grassroots level. More particularly in the families, the girls should be given importance to choose their own choice of subject by the parents, so that more girls can be we can see in the science and technology. Government is giving many schemes to improve the scenario, and I believe this will definitely help to see the better scenario of women empowerment in science and technology.
The science and technology field always takes a backseat in this regard because of our traditional mindset. But recently, as we have seen, that women have been able to overcome all these traditional mindset, been able to perform, excel. They are able to assert their positive attitudes in all the fields of science and technology, and they have been able to raise the level in all the fields, and they have performed very well. And I believe that with the various schemes that have been adopted by the government for women empowerment in regards to science and technology, especially there is a scheme from the DST known as Women Scientist Scheme, and the women shall be able to take advantage of all of these and be able to excel them, been able to raise them to the common standard.
So that there has been a very nice development, particularly over the last few decades. However, till now women has been underrepresented in these fields. So collectively about 40% of the undergraduate and postgraduate students in science and technology stream are women. However, this varies from department to department. So as we go up higher and higher in the career graph, the women representation is even lower. This has improved, but so far it has not been up to the mark. Like in the research field like PhD or postdoctoral studies, only 20% of the women the students continue, and as to get an academic position, faculty position also, even it is the number even becomes less, about 10% or so. But this thing has been improving over the past years. Also, there are some very exciting grants for the women researchers in the field of science and technology, which helps us in improving the gender ratio in science and technology.
I think women are doing very well in business. If you look at State Bank of India, who had Arundhati Bhattacharya as the chairperson of this large bank, and she's retired just a year or 2 years ago. So that's a wonderful, role model for all of us. Today we have the Stock Exchange Board of India chairperson, who is also a lady, Madhavi Puri, and you can see ladies in most places, not only in large business organizations. I would also like to point out that women have come forward in this in the engagement and involvement of small businesses also. Guwahati, just have a look at the street vendors in the vegetable market. There are many women out there, and I am proud that women of Assam and women of India have come a long way, and they are empowered either by choice or maybe sometimes by circumstances.
Women empowerment has always remained an issue of immense discussion, for it is known that women empowerment is essential in achieving sustainable development. Women in business have come a long way. Recently, we have learned from the news that the Securities and Exchange Board of India, the market regulatory body, has appointed its first women chairperson, Madhavi Puri. She was working as a full-time member in SEBI since 2017, and now she has been appointed as the head of the market regulatory body. In the international field, we have Geeta Gopinath, who has remained as the chief economist in the International Monetary Fund from 2019 to 2021, and now she has been appointed as the Deputy Managing Director in IMF. These are examples of empowered women who have come a long way, who have not only gained control over their lives, but they have also participated in decision making in the society, and they have actively contributed towards the society, towards the upliftment of the society. But it is not an easy task for women in business. As Vinita Singh, who is the CEO and founder of Sugar Cosmetics, she has pointed out that she has faced a tough time in raising funds. So it is not always easy for women in business, but we have seen how Vinita Singh, she has fought and she has made it to establishing Sugar Cosmetics as a top brand, and which is giving a tough competition to companies such as LL.M. So women empowerment is definitely seen in the business sector, but there is a long way to go, and it is only with education and with skills that women can move ahead.
নমস্কাৰ, আন্তঃৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় নাৰী দিৱস উপলক্ষে সকলোকে শুভেচ্ছা জ্ঞাপন কৰিছোঁ। সাহিত্যত নাৰী এই ক্ষেত্ৰত সাম্প্ৰতিক সময়ৰ কথা ক'বলৈ গ'লে আমি অসমীয়া সাহিত্যত এটা কথা ক'ব লাগিব যে সাম্প্ৰতিক সময়ত অসমীয়া নাৰী লেখকৰ সংখ্যাৰ ফালৰ পৰাই হওক বা ইয়াৰ গুণগত দিশৰ পৰাই হওক অসমীয়া নাৰী লেখকৰ ভূমিকা পুৰুষ লেখকতকৈ বহু সময়ত আমি বেছি গুৰুত্বপূৰ্ণ বুলি বিবেচনা কৰোঁ। আৰু নাৰী চৰিত্ৰৰ কথা ক'বলৈ গ'লে পূৰ্বৰ সময়ত যিদৰে খুব নম্ৰ, খুব দয়া বা ত্যাগৰ প্ৰতীক হিচাপে যি নাৰীক যিদৰে দেখুওৱা হৈছিল, তাতোতকৈ এটা সম্পূৰ্ণ বিপৰীত এটা পৰিস্থিতিত বা বিপৰীত ধৰণেৰে এগৰাকী শক্তিশালী নাৰীৰ চৰিত্ৰ আজিকালি উপন্যাস গল্পত দেখিবলৈ পোৱা যায়। এই ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি পুৰুষ বা নাৰী সকলো লেখকৰ কথাই ক'ব পাৰোঁ পুনতে আমি ভৱেন্দ্ৰনাথ শইকীয়াৰ অন্তৰীপ উপন্যাসখনৰ মেনকা চৰিত্ৰটোৰ কথা ক'ব পাৰোঁ সেইদৰে মামণি ৰয়ছম গোস্বামী অৰূপা পটঙীয়া কলিতা ৰীতা চৌধুৰী এইসকলৰ লিখনিটো আমি এটা কথা দেখিবলৈ পাওঁ যে যিসকল নাৰী সেইসকলে নিজৰ অস্তিত্বৰ কাৰণে যুঁজ দিব পাৰে আৰু তেওঁলোকে নিজকে শক্তিশালী ৰূপত প্ৰতিপন্ন কৰিব পাৰে গতিকে এই ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি ভাবোঁ যে এই সময়ত অসমৰ যিটো পৰিস্থিতি সেই পৰিস্থিতিত অসমীয়া নাৰীৰ শিক্ষা দীক্ষা বা সকলো ধৰণৰ যিটো অগ্ৰগতি তাৰেই ফলশ্ৰুতিত এনে ধৰণৰ এটা নাৰী চৰিত্ৰ আমি সাহিত্যত দেখিবলৈ পাওঁ
हिंदी साहित्य में एक लंबे समय से आदिकाल भक्तिकाल और रीतिकाल के साहित्य को जो हम देखते हैं तो वहाँ पे स्त्रियाँ जो हैं वो गायब हैं स्त्रियों की अभिव्यक्ति एकदम ख़त्म ही है वहाँ पे है नहीं बिल्कुल भी लेकिन जैसे ही हम आधुनिक काल में आते हैं तो आधुनिक काल में स्त्री शिक्षा विधवा विवाह पुनर्विवाह और इस तरह के तमाम स्त्री विषयों को लेके जिस तरह से साहित्य में प्रश्न उठाए गए उसकी अभिव्यक्ति हिंदी साहित्य में आधुनिक काल से दिखाई देती है और ये अभिव्यक्ति प्रमुख रूप से नवजागरण के जो प्रणेता थे जो पुरुष रचनाकार थे उनके द्वारा की गई तो एक लंबा समय साहित्य में पुरुषों के द्वारा स्त्रियों की अभिव्यक्ति को दिखाया गया है लेकिन स्वतंत्रता के बाद जिस तरह का साहित्य हम देखते हैं उसमें स्त्रियां खुद ही अपनी अभिव्यक्ति करती हैं उनका जो साहित्य है उसमें वो अपनी बातों को स्वयं कर रही हैं जिसे हम साहित्य की भाषा में सहानुभूति और सहजानुभूति के प्रश्न के साथ जूझते हैं तो हम देखते हैं कि वो सहजानुभूति का साहित्य है वो स्त्रियां खुद के जीवन में भोगे हुए सच को अपने साहित्य के माध्यम से उजागर कर रही हैं तो निश्चित रूप से इस दौर में औरतें जो हैं वो उनके साहित्य में वो प्रश्न अलग तरीके से दिखाई देता है जो पुरुषों के द्वारा व्यक्त किया गया और एक लंबा समय जो उनको वस्तु के रूप में साहित्य दिखा रहा था वो व्यक्ति के रूप में अपने आप को स्थापित करते हुए आधुनिक काल में दिखाई देती हैं